Okay, this is the first page of the review sheet that we're going to do together. I will have put the key on all of your BB Learn courses, so I'm not going to go through the theory questions. So question 1 is theory. The answer, the key will be on your BB Learn. Also 2, 3 is theory. Okay, let's start with question 4. This girl has applied to 3 universities in the States. Probability of being admitted to each university is 0.3. So we want to know what is the probability of her being admitted to all 3 universities. So a lot of students they don't realize that this is an and question. Okay, being admitted to all 3. Like if I say I like all 3 of those students, I like Abdullah and Saeed and Jabir. Okay, so this is an and question. So we want to know the probability of her being admitted to University 1 and University 2 and University 3. Okay, and they've told us that the probability of being admitted to each university is 0.3. So all we have to do is just slot in our probabilities, and we remember that and means times. Okay, and so we get a final answer of 0.027. All right, so this is a rules of multiplication question, question number 4. All right, question number 5, we have a contingency table. Okay, students were surveyed about where they lived, Dira or Dubai. The results of morning and evening students are in the table, and we want the probability of a randomly selected student being an evening student or living in Dira. Okay, so as we learned many times in the class, the first thing you do with a contingency table is you total the columns and you total the rows. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So we'll add 348 plus 541. That sums to 889. Okay, then we're going to sum these two numbers as well. That's 734. Then we will also sum the rows. So 348 plus 245. That comes to 593. And then 541 plus 489 is 1030. Okay, then what we have to do, we sum these two totals, okay, and they sum to 1623. And then we check to make sure that these two, the sum of these two is also this. Okay, because guys, this is our sample space. That's our n. So sometimes students ask me, oh, well, what if I sum these two and then the sum of these doesn't match? Well, you made a mistake somewhere, so you need to go back and check your addition. Okay, so now that we've done the groundwork, we can do the actual problem. Okay, the question is asking the probability of a selected student being an evening student, so we'll call that E, or living in Dira. We can call that D. Okay, so using our probability notation, we want the probability of evening or Dira. Okay, and when you have an or question, you've got to check to see if the two events are mutually exclusive or not. Okay, so evening, living in Dira. Evening student, living in Dira. Well, these events are not mutually exclusive because look, 245 students are evening students and they live in Dira. So what we're going to have to do, we're going to have to add two probabilities and then subtract out the shared probability. So the probability of evening or Dira is going to be equal to the probability of evening plus the probability of Dira minus the probability of evening and Dira. Okay? So now, because we've done our groundwork, it's just a matter of slotting in the probabilities. So the probability of evening, we take the total number, okay? The probability of evening is 734 over our sample space, which is 1623, plus probability of Dira, again we take the total, okay? So 593 over 1623. And then we're going to subtract out the shared probability because otherwise we'll be double counting. Okay, we've got to subtract out the shared probability. So the probability of evening and Dira, as I told you in class, an and question with a contingency table is a very simple thing. We're just going to take the number in the cell where the two events intersect and put it over the sample space. Okay, so if we add those and then subtract out the shared probability, we get 1082 over 1623. Okay, and that is approximately 0.67, which is also 67%, so roughly 2/3. And remember, probability can be a fraction, a decimal, or a percent. So any of these three answers is correct on the exam. Okay, so as I mentioned, the key will be on BB Learn, and the theory questions, I'm not going to go through those here. I'm just going to work problems on these videos. All right, so that is page 1 of the review sheet.